This presentation is brought to you by Smooth Productions.
Welcome to another edition of your Wednesday night Sports Delight, platform sports talk show. What's going on, party people? It is your boy Smooth, and that is Smooth with 3 O's. Welcome to another edition of the Platform Sports Talk Show, the main show, your Wednesday night sports delight. It's a pleasure to be back. Just been enjoying the hot weather that we have here in the Lou, but also been enjoying some amazing shows over the last few weeks, man. And just shouts out to the Platform Sports Talk Show Network for just an incredible job, and truly been a blessing to be able to say that we've been holding this thing strong for 9 years, y'all, consistently every Wednesday. And amazing shows, amazing guests, amazing conversations, amazing content that's always going to be on your feed every week. Something from Smooth Productions. And for those watching for the first time or listening for the first time, thank y'all very much. And for those who may not know a little bit about the Platform Sports Talk Show, well, give us a follow and you'll see more about us. Go to Facebook on the X, go to Instagram, go to YouTube. Make sure y'all put in the Platform Sports Talk Show. And of course, on YouTube, subscribe and click on that bell. So anytime we go live, you will be notified. Hit us up on the on Gmail. Just put in Platform Sports Talk Show at gmail.com. The reason why I say that is because if y'all would like to have the Sports Talk Show Network to come out to an event, set up shop somewhere and do a broadcast remote, maybe get some in-person interviews from certain events or sports figures in the area or outside of the Lou, shoot us an email. Or if you know someone who may be a great guest that we need to have on the show and get their story told, let's make that happen by shooting us an email, Platform Sports Talk Show at gmail.com. If for some reason you can't watch the show, life be lifing, you can also tune in on hot365radio.com or via the app. Hot 365 Radio, where it's always. You can catch the replay of our most recent show each and every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. They also have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/hot365radio. It's a dope Twitch. They got dope content. So the shouts out to Hot 365 Radio for supporting us for the many years that we have been on their platform. Once again, I said that the network has done amazing things every Wednesday, and every first Wednesday of the month you have Ladies Night. Every first Wednesday of the month. And I always say this, and I stand firm on that. If you haven't checked them out, you're tripping. But I call it the best panel of ladies who love sports. We have a new edition on Ladies Night. She's actually on tonight for the show as well. So she's going to be a welcoming addition. I'll be bringing her on very soon. Then every last Wednesday of the month, you have the Man Cave, where anything, and I do mean where anything can go down. So shouts out to the fellas for always holding things down, always keeping things 100. And outside of the sports talk show that I do have smooth conversations where the conversations are always smooth. Just had two amazing conversations last week. They were my first live conversations I've had since early in June. Kind of want to take a little break from the show and enjoy my baby girl while she was in town, and I just had an amazing summer with her. She just started school today. So shouts out to her and shouts out to all the little ones who are going back to school and going to be the difference in a positive way in this world. But going back to smooth conversations, go ahead and go to YouTube, put in smooth conversation, smooth with three O's, like, subscribe, spread the word. So many great conversations with so many great people. I guarantee you, you would be amazed, you would be touched, you would be inspired by the conversations I've had from celebrities, from people who are just doing amazing things, whether it's locally or globally. I've had them on and look forward to having many more guests on Smooth Conversations. You can also listen every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, whether it's a live show or the best of Smooth Conversations, by going to beatdistrictradio.com or via the app. So, no excuses. There is a way to check out Smooth Conversations. And last but not least, for those like, well, who are you, Smooth? Well, I'm glad y'all asked. I am a professional DJ. I provide or do custom apparel. I provide audio visuals, do photography, videography, drone services. If you haven't seen the recent um, post that I left on social media, my wife has an amazing nonprofit called G4L Girls for Life. And over the weekend, this past Sunday, just had their 11th annual back to school event, and I capture a lot of great moments. So check that out. Follow me all across social medias, put in Smooth Productions, and check it out. Also, I'm a podcaster, talk show host. If y'all need help getting something going on your own, let's connect. Let's make that happen. And I am a sound engineer as well. So scan the QR code throughout the show or go to smoothproductions.com. But once again, smooth with three O's. Now, enough of the promo for now. It's time to bring in the panelists for the evening. And up first, y'all know where she holds things down from, and that's the Boondocks. Jobo was happening, and she disappeared and is on mute. Let's see what's going on with her. Jobo, ball Noah, you good over there on the Boondocks? You need me to check back in with you? All right, she ain't ready yet. So I'll go ahead and bring in our next panelist. I said earlier that she is the newest addition to the Platform Sports Talk Show family. A few months ago, she was a guest on Ladies Night, and she reached out. Well, I reached out to her just to see how everything was with the conversation she had on Ladies Night. She said she loved it, she enjoyed it, and she said that she would love to be back on. So I'm like, well, let's see if she'd be interested in being on the show more and more and more. And she has agreed. She's a busybody, but we appreciate her taking time out to talk about some sports. So for the first time on the main show, rocking the Cardinals like I am, you know what I'm saying? It's y'all homie, the new addition to the network, Ashley. What's going on with you, Ashley?
Doing well. You know, great minds think alike.
That's what it do. That's what it do. She says, let's see. Okay, so Joe is having a little bit of audio issues. So I think she's ready now. Just give me putting in some in the chat. Let me know that you're ready. Then okay, there we go. I got the thumbs up. So, but before I bring in Joe, once again, thank you for once again being part of the Sports Talk Show family. I know you did Ladies Night last week, and now you're on the main show. Just so far, your thoughts on being part of the Sports Talk Show family.
Yeah, definitely amazing. Feels like home, nice flowing conversation. And thank y'all for welcoming me and offering me an opportunity to come onto the sports platform. So I really appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun so far.
Yeah, and I can just tell from the conversation we had with you back on Ladies Night last month, and just knowing and seeing your knowledge and the sports analyst in you that you have, that it'll just be a great addition to what we're doing for the show as we continue to evolve. Because we I can't. Well, Joe can't say it right now. Her and Stan can't say it, but I can say it. I'm getting up there. Getting older, so I can't do this forever in regards to being, in front of the mic all the time. I love to do what I do in regards to producing and setting things up for future shows. But it's just great to be around people who have that same sports passion and would just love to not hide that talent, but to bring it to the forefront. So hopefully this is something that can extend down what years down the line, not just a moment, but it can be a legacy down the line. So people like yourself is going to definitely be needed, and for you to voice your thoughts in regards to sports. So once again, thank you for being part of the network. Shouts out to our favorite fan, Miss Dub.
Hey,
Says
Miss
what's up,
Love.
smooth. Hi, Ashley. So see, not now I think about it. We got to come up with a nickname for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've had Ash Bash. I've had Cash with a K.
Ash
There's been a
Bash.
couple. I don't know. Not one has stuck yet, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll do Cash with a K.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that in our group chat and see
Yeah,
what we can come up with, and has to be something that be like, yeah, that's it. That's
yeah,
that's the one. That's
yeah.
the one. Cause can't just be having your government name all on the screen the whole show. You
Yeah,
gotta
I
have
saw
something different.
you with the smooth and Joe. I'm like, oh, okay.
The wifey got Joe and got
Jayonce,
Jay
yeah.
Yonsei, Craig Black,
Hmm.
Stan, Sadal. So everyone be having their names. So you got to make sure that it's not truly official until you get that nickname across the screen. So
Okay, cool.
we're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that.
Bet.
But speaking of working, her audio is working. So now hold things down from the remix. Boondocks. Joe Bo, welcome to the show.
What's up? I saw you go like that. I was like, oh shoot, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I knew you were doing the Boondocks, but yeah, Apple confuses me. I was just trying to pull up the stream on my phone to have it playing, and it connected to my phone, and then it wouldn't let me connect back to the laptop. But I'm good now. I'm good.
I'll tell you
The
about that Apple.
technology.
And Miss Dub showing you love in the club.
Hey, Miss Dub.
All right, all
Happy
right, all right.
Wednesday.
Yep. So, Miss Dub, thanks for always being that number one fan for us, and we encourage everyone else who's tuning in. Take this time out right now to hit that like, hit that share button, spread the word about the Platform Sports Talk Show Network. We want to get as many people to tune in and enjoy the experience. And if you have any thoughts, any questions, sports related, and that I will approve of, I'll have it shown on the screen. So don't be shy. What I'm saying? Be polite, be kind, and be respectful. But we do love our sports and love talk about it, and we have a passion for what we do. And another person who has a passion for what she does, because she does it all the time, and sometimes she may have to do multiple things while being on the show, but she's very great at what she does. An amazing mommy, and I think she's ready to rock and roll. She is the host of Ladies Night. I think she has wiped away some stuff from food from her mouth and everything. So she over there laughing. All right, but yeah, she's ready. Bunny, what's going on with you? And she's on mute. There we go. See? She said she's trying to get
All
off
right,
mute.
there we go. Happy hump day. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Bonnie.
Oh, Joe Bo, you sound so enthused.
Sorry, I'm
She's
looking at
full.
socials as well. I'm full. I was selling them. ate some nachos today, Mia's choice, and I'm just feeling a little icky.
I got you. Understand. Hi, Miss Dub. Well, as Smooth said, I was stuffing my pie hole before I came on. Like you, soccer got canceled. I didn't even know today was Wednesday, y'all. I don't know why I was thinking today was Tuesday. Maybe because of the heat got my brain fried. Who knows? Hey, Miss Ashley, or should I call you Toots? They don't know about Toots,
my
do they?
God.
Wait a minute. There we go. We got Toots. We got Toots in the building. What was I gonna say? So speaking of the heat, because my wife went to the baseball game today. She was her company, or not her company, but what she does for work. Their company was at Busch Stadium. Now, thankfully, they had a suite, so they weren't like out there in the heat, right over the head. They probably had a nice little fan going, can go inside the little room and enjoy themselves. But it was that walk though. It was that walk from Busch Stadium going back to the ride, make it feel like you walking for a half an hour in that heat index of 109 outside. Crazy, crazy time right now.
Yeah, it's gross
Crazy.
outside right now. Me and Clark went on a walk, and I didn't even put a shirt on him. I just left him, put him in the stroller. We went on a walk, and we're both drenched in sweat by the time we got back. So
See,
yeah,
I
it's
just
it's
left him.
yucky out there right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. St. Louis be showing, the Midwest be showing out, man, with this weather. But outside of that, Bunny, I know that your husband, he's still coaching. Is that correct?
Actually, no. Last year? Yeah, I lost track. Was it this year? Oh, well, just past. What year is it? 2026. So no, he's not at Cahokia anymore. They revamped it and went in different directions. So he's not coaching. But that's TBD. We'll see if he goes to another team/school. So
Okay. And then during the pre-show, Joe and I found out because Ashley had I'm sorry, Toots had a picture, Toots or AKA Cash or Ash Bam or we gonna find out the name. But she left a post or in a story of her at the University of Illinois at the football field. So I'm thinking, well, maybe she doing some some sports analyst preparation, sports commentating. But
okay.
no, she doing the behind the scenes. She doing like scoreboard operating and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love
So,
that for you. That's what's up. Well, congrats.
I appreciate it. Their show should be really, really nice. So if you get a chance to go to a game, just know I help them with that. So.
Thank you. I'm gonna hold you to that because tentatively I'm scheduled to go to the October 23rd game, U of I.
Okay.
My cousin is playing. He plays for University of Oregon, J Mac.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So his mom reached out, which my cousin as well, a couple weeks ago. We were trying to align a calendar when I could see him.
Mm-hmm.
And then his brother plays for K-State. This would be his first year. His brother playing for K-State. So it's like the McClellan brothers trying to balance the two schedules. Shout out to the mom and dad because that's a lot. One at Oregon, one at K-State. You're going all over the country trying to see them.
That's a good problem to have, though.
True, it is.
and speaking of stadiums, have y'all been following the progress? Looks like it's pretty much completed, but the new addition at Mizzou,
Yes.
the north end zone, that mud looks amazing. Ashley, your thoughts?
I love it. And I'm happy that they kept the Rock M. That was just the icing on top. But to have the premium seating above it and the new board, it looks very sleek. I'm excited to go out there and see it myself.
Yeah, I went to my first game back in 2023, I believe. Yeah, and it was my first time going to a Mizzou football game, so I definitely have to go back and experience it, especially now because now that you got that area, it's not open no more. So I expect even better home field advantage, and where the crowd's going to be louder. You're going to have more people, you know what I'm saying, in the seats, especially in them sections, the new sections. It is going to be a good look overall. So I just feel that Mizzou program, actually, just let me know if I'm wrong, but from what I've been seeing, whether it's basketball, football, I know the wrestling program has always been very respectable. Softball has been improving. Baseball team is like they're getting close to getting to going to a college of Final Four tournament. So like overall the state of the programs at Mizzou for sports is looking very good.
Yeah, it's
Wait, wait,
definitely.
wait. He says that, but when Mizzou basketball comes up, because he's ready to let Dennis Gates have it, I said, but Smooth. I wish we could rewind the tape, so we'll see if
Hey,
he's going to be talking this noise
that's
4 months from now.
that's why I said they are on the come up. They're on their way. I ain't say, oh, we are elite, but I'm saying that what they're doing, the strides that they're making, there's been a lot of improvement over the last 4 years. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah, it's a top recruiting class for basketball this season. So if they suck, then the criticism is warranted, Smooth. But hopefully Dennis can prove us both wrong because I had a couple questions about Dennis myself.
See, there we go. See, so we got time because right now we're waiting on our special guest to go ahead and log in. So we got time to talk about this. So I just want before I even say anything, I just want to get your criticisms or your thoughts about Coach Dennis Gates. Because now I will say this: he is an incredible recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
I will give him that, and I've always have given him that. But it's all about what you're doing with those recruits and your in-game coaching. I'll stop there. The floor is yours.
I don't like moral victories. So just because he's made it to March Madness, there shouldn't be a lot of celebrating. I don't like just because he had an appearance here and there. Oh, Dennis Gates is the savior of the program. He's brought in top recruits. Okay, what is he doing with those recruits? That game against the Illini last season was so embarrassing. They shouldn't have lost in a basically home game in the tournament to Miami. So I'll give him grace because he is bringing in a ton of talent this season. I hope he can turn it around, but that's the issue I have. I don't like the moral victories.
Okay. And while Bunny's eating, Joe's full. I barely have a voice because like I think something happened to me over the weekend where I feel like I got like a cold trying to come. I'm like, are you serious? Like, no, stay away. So if I start sounding raspy, you know why. But yes, everything you just said, Ashley, is correct. And that's just been my biggest issue with Dennis Gates is amazing recruiter, but like you said, you can't keep on having these more victories. Oh, the team came back and played very well, but no. And there's been so many times where the team has had big leads, and then the second half comes, and the adjustments are made by the opposing team, and Mizzou don't know how to counteract. Okay, go ahead on, Bunny.
That is correct. Big leads shrink. Usually, when I see that, and it happens more than once, I do reflect that to be on coaching. Because in the NBA, the biggest person I had a problem with that was Doc Rivers. Fourth quarter, that man would collapse. The team would just, and I'm like, what? Anyway, we're not talking about him, but I would say that's on coaching when your league collapses.
She about to rant.
Don't even go there. But when it comes to, we talked about this move. Remember how with Mizzou, they would be trading baskets, and especially
Mhm.
when we're trying to get a lead, but we're only barely tying or come from behind, be so close, we would never take a lead or trade. I'm like, you can't trade baskets to win. You have to stop defensively. And I've always
Right.
said, why are they tripping on defense? I don't know if that's all coaching because the player has to execute that. At this collegiate level, everybody should know how to play defense. Some are going to be better than others, but specifically defense is a effort. It's not just a skill. That is a effort with it too. So sometimes I was giving Dennis Gates some grace, and I'm like, the players aren't doing their part of it. But when it comes to X's and O's, you always want to put your players in the best position to score as a team. If they're struggling, that's your job to figure out how to help them. Now, if they keep breaking, you can't control that. But the easiest possible way to score, that's coaching. Help it, make it easy for them. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's Coach Gates. Sometimes I'm like, that's players. You said he does recruit well. He does. Sometimes, we've always said with chemistry, we heard this enough on different levels. Chemistry does make a difference. Now these rosters, we'll see if that 5 and done rule is implemented for real. For real, if it is, then these rosters may not have so much up and down and transferring, because that affects it too. Because you had a couple of players that didn't start the season, they finished and they started. I forgot the point guard name, but
Jason Crow.
some of that him, some of that not. So this coming season, we'll see. Again, it's a good recruiting class. You're gonna have a couple of little freshmen. You're gonna have some experience. You're gonna have like everybody else's roster. So what do you do to separate yourself from everybody else, specifically in the SEC roster?
And with that being said, he is facing the most pressure he has ever had this season, because you're coming in, as Ashley said, he's coming in with a very highly recruited class, like one of the best classes that Mizzou has ever, probably close to or better than the year Michael Porter Jr. came in. And you know how I feel about Michael Porter Jr. So, this class here, he has to improve. Like, this can't be no one and done situation. It can't be no and now this I would give him huge credit for. They're off their non-conference schedule is so much better than what they have done in the past. So much better. I mean, they're playing SLU at the Enterprise Center in freaking November. That's a game that I gotta go to. Then they play, of course, Illinois, but they play KU in Kansas City. They have a slew of nice, tough games to start off their non-conference slate of the season. That's going to build character. In the past, and Ashley let me know, but in the past, it felt like to me he was getting these cupcake games to kind of see how the team can gel, and to by the time it's SEC season, they ready. I feel like no, you need to be scheduling games against Duke, against the Michigan States and other teams to see where your team really is and see if they really battle tested. Because you playing some HBCU team, and no shade to them, but you playing a HBCU team is not going to have you ready to play Kentucky.
Exactly. Especially on the road. And then like those cupcake teams, they don't get you ready for March Madness. So if you're trying to get a better seed at an at-large bid because maybe we're not going to come out with the SEC championship, then you have to get tougher in scheduling your non-conference. In my opinion, they were ducking SLU a little bit. So I'm happy to see this season they're finally putting SLU on their schedule. I think the only reason SLU is on the schedule is because one, SLU made some noise in the March Madness run.
Yes.
And people were calling their card. So if it weren't for that, I don't know if SLU even would have, been on the schedule, but I'm happy that finally Mizzou has decided to come down to St. Louis and play them. That is a game that I want to attend as well, because I think it'll be a lot closer than people are giving SLU credit for. Obviously, they beat Georgia in the first round last year, so that they're not a fluke. I think this season they'll come back and still be as strong as they were last season. Yeah, they lost a big piece in Robbie Avila, but I've been able to go to some of their open practices, and they look really, really good.
Yeah, and that my flip side is SLU, because now it's getting to a point where it's a possibility, if they keep on doing what they're doing, that the Big East is going to be saying, you know what, we welcome you in to our conference. And if they do that, imagine seeing the Georgetowns, the Villanovas coming into St. Louis, and how much money. And I mean, well, they already been having sellout crowds over the last 2 years now. But just imagine what's going to happen. Like, what if he had a game where it got so packed that they had to move to the Enterprise Center?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of problem that you want to have.
That's the spoonball days showing our age. Them the 90s SLU. They was down there. They had them games packed.
Yeah. So, I mean, basketball here in the Lou is definitely cooking, man. But speaking of, I know earlier we was talking about how SLU is back into the fold of things. Someone is back now and ready to be back on our show as our friend of the show, He's been on a few times now, and every time you had him on, it's truly been amazing conversations of his personality, and to, of course, his love of baseball and his knowledge. He's one of the most respected, trusted sources that you will ever know. And Bunny, I can't recall if you have been on the show with him before. I know a lot of times you had to either, you wasn't available. So I can't recall if you've been on the show with him before. Have you?
I've gotten probably 5 minutes with him. Unfortunately,
Okay.
the last time I thought I was going to be on here, I think Sasha had a fever. I had to abruptly leave because she
Okay.
had a fever so high. I had to call the nurse. Yeah. Anyway, so 5 minutes of fame with him. That's it.
Okay. So you know him from Birds on the Black. You also know him from what's the other show, Joe podcast? Prospects After Dark. There we go.
Prospects After Dark, and now Wednesdays with Walton.
Wednesdays with Walton. And so once again, when you see this man post on X certain things, you see the best of the best from the Derek Bulls and other incredible writers or other sources like BK from BK Ferrario or whoever it is. They will go and say, well, I saw what this man said. And they never say, oh, he's wrong or he don't know what we're talking about. No, they respect this man's work. And it's truly an honor to have him back on the show. Once again, a friend of the show. He enjoys being with us as well. And Ashley, you're going to enjoy your time with him as we talk Cardinals baseball and Major League Baseball as a whole. Returning back to the show, think he's ready to rock and roll. Our guest, Mr. Kyle Reis. And Kyle, how are you doing on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday?
Well, candidly, I'm embarrassed that I completely forgot about the podcast. That's how I am. And also, it's funny, the timing of trying to do the podcast could not be any worse. The first time I tried to come on with you guys, a tornado rolled through our fair city, and I had to. It was so funny. The minute I was about ready to go live with you, I mean, the actual minute, we lost power, and we've been in cleanup mode pretty much in the city ever since, and then now. We just got a puppy on Friday, and I developed a head cold sometime in between then and now. So I am a mess. I am a wreck. I haven't particularly slept well, and I've got this thing going on. And had I not looked at Twitter to see that you guys had sent me the link, I was about ready to hammer a glass of bourbon and take a NyQuil and just see what happens, just to see what would happen. So again, I apologize for being late and all the stuff that's going on, and thank you for being patient and kind with me.
Well, thank you for showing up and pushing through. I'm sorry to hear all of that. It's a lot. Yeah, at least it took time for us.
Yeah, well, you guys rock. I love being on. I love talking it over with you. I'm sorry that I'm not going to be able to give you my all or that long. We'll see when the coughing takes over, because normally I can't talk very long before the coughing takes over. But again, pardon me for the coughing as well through the process.
We definitely understand. And by the way, how are things going in your neighborhood after the tornado?
Yeah, we got lucky. There's, it was an EF2 that came through with some pretty intense winds. I think in some parts it was an EF3. There's a couple houses in the mile around us that were crushed by trees. That I work for the city that I live in, so we'll be going and we're going to tear down those houses. And there's a lot of gas lines that we've had to retire, locate for retirement because so many buildings are destroyed and are unable to be repaired. So luckily, we got really lucky. Just a little bit of roof damage, maybe a little water coming in a weird spot, and other than that, we could not have gotten any luckier. But those first couple of days were crazy. I ended up going into work right away. I mean, almost right away, and that was a late night. Got done at like 12 or 12:30, and then we were at it pretty steadily after that for a month. But yeah, just the long answer is we got really lucky, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. That's 2 years in a row for me. I was in St. Louis last year. Well, I wasn't in St. Louis. I was actually visiting my girlfriend here, but I lived in the Central West End, and that tornado blew through there. And then now another one followed me here. So I'm just going to keep my head down and hope for the best.
And I can definitely relate, because I also had to endure with my neighborhood being affected by the tornado from 314 day. So, when you told me about it back in June, I was like, hey, I definitely understand and sympathize. So once again, we appreciate you being on. Do the best we can with your condition. And I was just saying earlier that I feel like I'm coming down with something because I feel like I got something in my throat. Like I'm trying to cough it, like, come on, get out. But it's like just still stuck there. So we're gonna work it out today on the platform Sports Talk Show. So we got a comment here. Let me see. Oh, so our favorite fan, Miss Dub, says, "Welcome, Kyle. We admire your perseverance."
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. I hope we can have a little bit of a nice conversation here. And thank you for, I know that, like you said, your best fan. I appreciate anybody who follows along,
Most definitely. So before we get right into the baseball talk, I do have to ask this, but outside of baseball, do you even watch any other sports?
Well, so when the Rams left St. Louis, I stopped watching the NFL. And now that I live in East Central Illinois, all of these guys are Bears fans, and my girlfriend's a Bears fan, and some of her best friends are Bears fans. So a year and a half, and her cousin is a huge Bear fan. So about a year and a half ago, I started watching the Bears towards the end of the 2024-25 season, and of course all of last year through that run. And I watch hockey. I'm a Blues fan, so that's really all I watch. And of course, like, I'm one of these Midwestern whites that enjoys the Olympics. So that would be my sports reality.
And in the Olympics, what's your favorite sport to watch?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'm not embarrassed to admit that I actually really like in the summer. I love the gymnastics stuff. That's in the winter, right? Gymnastics is in the winter. Summer, like I said, it's in the summer. My favorite stuff is the gymnastics in the summer, and so I really like that. I like it all. We watched the Summer Olympics, the last Summer Olympics. There was like extreme kayaking, where they dropped off of like a cliff into a raging river and had to dodge obstacles. And I don't know if people got into that, but me and my girlfriend loved it.
Like, let's go.
Yeah, I'm not water. I am not buoyant. I sink, and to see these people jump off a cliff and just like go to kayaking, like just go to town with a kayak and a paddle, it tickled me. I don't know what else to say.
I love it.
What about you? What's your favorite?
Man, summer. I mean, doing a Summer Olympics is always basketball for me. But after that, I do love that track and field.
Yeah,
it's always just exhilarating to see them athletes going crazy. So I love it. Joe, you got a favorite in Summer Olympics?
Well, used to be baseball, possibly baseball. That's going back, right? Obviously, but I think the last time was there like some crazy, like these people just shooting these airsoft guns and it looked like Avengers out there. Like, what the hell was that? Don't know, but that was nifty. And I do like gymnastics too, though.
Yeah. And then for winter, I'm big into like the luge and the bobsled. Like when you get a guy on a sled all by himself going down an ice cannon, I can't stop and watch it. I'm freaking out about like 0.1/10th of a second difference. I'm yelling. I'm like, they've got it, and they're like a minute and a half behind because they wrecked. I like that.
Yeah, and I'm probably showing my age, but every time I see bobsled, I think about Cool Runnings.
Yeah, of course.
So,
oh God,
I love it. Ashley, how about yourself? Summer's favorite, Summer Olympics favorite sport.
I'm the same. I love gymnastics, track, and definitely basketball, men and women's. As far as the winter, I did enjoy breakdancing and rock climbing too. Those are
Lord, don't talk about that breakdancing. that one lady. Oh my God.
I'm like, how do you even score these?
Right. We talked about her so bad. It was just terrible, but she thought that she was doing something. She with the whole pose.
Yeah.
No, stop it.
It was funny. It was more comical for me, but I did enjoy it.
Me too.
But in the winter, definitely bobsledding for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Me too. Like I said, I love it.
All right. So now we want to encourage everyone who's watching right now, leave comments, leave questions. This is the opportunity to engage with us. If you have questions for our guests, no, I ain't gonna say guests, our friend of the show, Kyle Reis, please don't hesitate because we want you to be able to use your knowledge and bring it out here on the platform Sports Talk Show. So I'll go and start off first. Now I know Joe been having some questions since June, but just overall, because last time we talked, I believe, was in April before the season started, I believe. But now 61-60. Just your overall thoughts on the 2026 Cardinals as they stand.
While it's been kind of sad lately, although they've picked it up a little bit since the trade deadline, but that July being pretty well just sad. Everything that led up to it was a lot of fun, and they're starting to be a little bit more fun now. You're starting to see Weatherholt and Herrera and Jordan Walker hit like they were in the first half of the season. It's starting to get exciting again. And I think back, I'll always think back on the 2026 season as just being fun. Like, it was the first time in a really long time that I enjoyed watching every night. I couldn't tell you the last time. I watch 4 minor league baseball games a night, and normally I'm barely keeping an eye on the major league team. I have it on, I'm looking up, but my interests, of course, are with minor league baseball, and it hasn't been that way this year. My interests have been pretty hardcore on the major league club, and of course, still dedicating time to the minors. Pardon me, but yeah, I'll think of this team as a fun team, even though things aren't going great right now. And as we pivot down the stretch, I'm anxious to see what kind of excitement they can bring that leads into 2027. I know that that's a generic overall look. Specifically, maybe if you wanted a little bit more detail, I would say the starting pitching has been way better than I thought it would be. And the bats have been livelier and more fun than I thought it would be. So there's a lot to build on, a lot to get excited about, and a lot of things to look forward to in the next couple of years, I would say.
Yeah. And Miss Dubs had a great comment. They seem to have the talent. They just need a little consistency. And that's my takeaway, too, is especially that amazing start they had to the year. It was like they just came out different. Like, you know what? We're going to surprise some people. We're going to manufacture runs. We're going to bring in excitement. And then, like you said, July, late June and July, all of a sudden it's just like, wait a minute, back to reality. Yeah. And I'm just impressed that as we talk right now, they're 3.5 games out of a final wild card spot that I don't think no one would have seen coming, which I think is truly amazing. And maybe a few weeks ago, and I know Joe would say this on the chat, we was kind of talking like, okay, well, this might be the end of the season, but you just never know with this team right now. It's hard to say this is the team, because one moment you're saying, okay, they're lacking this. Like you said, the pitching has been a huge surprise. One of the top starting pitching teams in all of baseball. Who would have thought? Of course, the bullpen definitely doesn't work. But just overall, just for them to be 61-60 right now and right there in the thick of the playoff race is truly an amazing thing.
Yeah, and a cap tip to Kyle Leahy and Andre Palante in particular, yes, who have solidified themselves as members of the Cardinals rotation moving forward. Palante, who I would bet that if we went back and listened to the preseason audio, I was probably talking very negatively about Andre Palante. I was too. Well, I was definitely pretty open about saying, like, I hope that he had a chance of taking advantage of the situation, but I didn't expect him to. And it's been awesome to see it. He's gone through, not only with the fans and myself and analysts or whatever being critical of him and casting him off, to seeing him become a really solid major league pitcher. Again, he and Leahy, I want to single out, because I didn't think the Leahy thing would work either. And here he is getting better and better with each start as the season progresses. I have to give them a cap tip. And, sure, it's been ugly for Liberatore, which is somewhat expected, or, you didn't know what you were going to get, but it was definitely one of the variables that you could see happening, him having trouble in the 2026 season. It really doesn't bug me. Like, it is what it is. And now the question is, can he have a career resurgence like Andre Palante did with a little bit of tweaking? Could he be a bullpen option? Like you said, the bullpen's still kind of in disarray. It's still kind of a mess. Maybe he can be that bullpen option that's huge for the Cardinals in 2027. So I think we found out a lot about this team, the Cardinals organization, as they enter the 2027 season. And I think that's important. I think that was really the mission statement. And in the process, they've won a lot of games. And I think as a fan, and they've done it in a fun way. And so I think as a fan, I don't think you can get very much more excited than that.
And Joe, please feel free to jump on in if you
No,
like.
I was just thinking my pinned tweet X whatever right now was from January saying like I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of this 72 or 73 win Cardinals team because we're not gonna have baseball next year, and I got mad at myself for getting mad watching them in July because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we know this isn't a playoff team, and we weren't, we shouldn't be expecting this much, and then like you said, they turned it on a little bit and everything, but I'm just like, they've already exceeded my expectations. Yeah, there's stuff that annoys the hell out of me still, like some just like fundamental stuff here and there, but no, I mean, I've been enjoying the team, and then I mean, shoot, we just gave Phillies, Sanchez, and Wheeler back-to-back losses for the first time, and who would have thunk we put up that many runs against Zach Wheeler, who's owned the Cardinals since he was born. Like, I don't know, that was fun to watch. I was working, but it was fun to watch.
I saw somebody tweeted out that it's the first time that Wheeler and Sanchez have lost back-to-back games this season. The Cardinals were the first team to do that, I think one of the things that I really like about the Cardinals as they're built is they're tough against tough pitchers. There was a lot of discussion about trading Alec Burleson, and we'll get a lot of that this offseason as well, I'm sure. But Alec Burleson's really great at hitting good pitchers. Ivan Herrera is really great at hitting good pitchers, when they're on, of course. Weatherholt's shown the ability to do it. And that makes this team fun, too, because on any given night, they might put 3 runs up on Paul Skeens and win a game 3-2. They might jump on Jacob Mizorowski early in a start and win that couple home runs early and shut down Milwaukee. That makes it fun. That makes it intriguing. And sure, they'll lay the dud against a left-handed rookie who has a 5.5 ERA in AAA and is 28 years old. But that's the price of doing business sometimes. I think, I've said what I think. I mean, what do you guys think? I know, Joe, you said you thought they'd win 72 games. I think that's about what I thought they'd win. I thought it'd be that if it was really bad, 68 wins. If it was really good, like 78 wins, maybe 80. Is that kind of where you guys were? I know we talked about it, but I don't remember. I apologize.
I was excited for those 73 wins, though, because of the new and not new faces. Like, obviously, JJ's new. But, like, didn't think, we were going to see really Nathan Church up here. And but obviously just still with Wynn. I was happy Gorman's. I'm sorry, I hate trashing Gorman, but that is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But I mean, I was excited for the potential of Herrera, Burley, JJ, Walker. When it was just, I don't know. I've really enjoyed the season. I'll say that. Like, yeah, there was those times that they just kind of annoyed you, and you're like, why can you not hit anything right now? But every team goes through it, and we got to remember we're what the youngest team in the league right now. So, I don't know. It's been a fun ride, and this is about what I expected, though. It's like 10 more wins, and we're already at what I thought we were going to have. So, and I think we'll have more than 10 more wins.
Yeah, I mean, think about the conversation we had in the offseason and the lead up to the season. Like, just think about Jordan Walker, and not just the home runs or the MVP chance or the All-Star or the home run derby. Just the excitement and his ability to keep it going all year. That changes not only the Cardinals' outlook, but just the things to get excited about as a fan. Another thing as you entered the year, if you were going to handicap what the chances are that he'd be an all-star, you might say 40% at the high end, 10% on the low end, maybe even say 0%. I'm sure there's people who would have said 0, and I might even have been one of them. So to see what he's done, anchoring the lineup, working through power drought, but still being an effective major league contributor, and also continuing to play a really good right field. Again, just another thing that I hope I don't, and I also hope the fans don't take for granted when through these tough stretches, and also when we reflect on the 2026 season.
So 3 people that we just recently brought up. We'll talk about him right now. Jordan Walker, as you said, he's kind of going through a little power outage ever since the home run derby. Excuse me. What are you seeing as the reason why he can't stay consistent with power?
Because power is tough to stay consistent with if you want to be a hitter. Like even Kyle Schwarber, I forgot what the total is. I think he only has 2 home runs or somewhere between 1 and 3 home runs since the Derby. And he's not producing the same way that Jordan Walker is since then. It's really hard to be an offensive contributor, a hitter, and a power hitter at the same time. And I think Jordan understands, and I don't know if this is true or not, but my guess is Jordan Walker understands that if he starts selling out for power, he's going to find himself in old habits that, frankly, are why we doubted him entering the 2026 season. So I'm always going to be concerned about a regression with Jordan. I don't think I'll ever be able to put it in the back of my head until he stacks a couple years on top of this season. That doesn't mean I'm doubting him or anything like that. I want to see it, and I'm excited to see it. And selfishly, as a fan, I hope we get it because it'd be awesome. And I think the consistency will continue to come with that. Is my guess, as he'll find more power consistency. But I think he just wants to contribute. The important thing with him is that he's still making contact and he still has his incredible bat speed. Because he's gonna swing at some really stupid things outside. That's just the nature of the hitter he is, and how he rebounds is really what matters. And that bat speed does most of the work for him anyways. So those are the things that really matter to me.
Yeah, not everyone is Yordan Alvarez or Aaron Joe. You know what I'm saying? Those are the guys that consistently hit for power, average, everything. But I do like Walker's. He's been pretty consistent with his doubles and still hard hit balls. And I don't know, it's nice. It's always nice to see him hustle down the line, even if it's just a little ground ball, to an infielder, because, put the ball in play, good things happen. And that happened today. And then he swiped a bag right after that. And then we manufactured a run. So it's just nice to see that he doesn't get too low on himself like maybe he did in years past.
Yeah. The maturation process, one of the hot prospects right now that everybody's talking about at AA is a gentleman named Jesus Baez, not to be confused with Josh Baez, the other prospect that everybody's always talking about. But, Jesus Baez is 21 years old and he's still learning who he is. There's still a lot of inconsistencies in his game, but he's starting to flash. We're starting to see the potential to be a major leaguer. He was acquired for Ryan Helsley in the deadline deal last year from the Mets. And he was a highly thought of prospect back then. And he had fallen on some tough times and a dedication that he was putting forth in baseball. And now he's back to being a flashy potential top 100-ish, top 200 for sure prospect in baseball. And it's just because, you're not just playing 162 games. You're asking these guys to work out and prepare 162 games a year. The minor leagues, it's different because they're off every Monday. The seasons aren't quite as long. They're different at every level, the length of the seasons. But it's just nice to see. And I bring up Baez just to say that this is the ebb and flow of this sport. That's really what sets this sport apart. There's at any given moment, 10 elite players that have been able, maybe 10 elite hitters and 5 elite pitchers that have been able to do it for 5 consecutive years or longer, that have sustained both power for hitters and strikeouts for pitchers with a low ERA and a big OPS for, hitters and pitchers respectively, or pitchers and hitters respectively. So it's hard to be consistent. It's hard to be good. And the ones who get there usually take a little bit of time to get there anyways.
And then I know Ashley may have some questions, but I do want to give out the 2 other people. Lipitor. And me and Joe would always talk about who really won this trade, Cardinals or at the time
the
Reis, in regards to, of course, Randy Rosarena. Of course, now he's with the Mariners. And it was a stretch last season where Libby was like, okay, this is why they got me. And then he took that initiative during spring training to say, I want to be that number 1. But the season hasn't been the same. The physical hasn't been the same as the mental in regards to his production as a starter. And I'm hearing a lot of people, I heard Danny Mack say this yesterday. I heard other people say they prefer him to be in the bullpen. What are your thoughts in regards to the projection of Lipitor at this time?
He's always been at his best, and this is probably true with every pitcher. It's not fair to just single out Matthew Lipitor, but he's at his best when he has more velocity. And that's in part because obviously everything plays better when you have more velocity. That's an inarguable fact. It's truth. It's baseline. Yeah, the problem is his fastball just isn't good, and sometimes his command of all of his pitches is trash. And when teams can either single out a fastball or single out his breaking pitch, then he's going to get beat around. Early in this year when he was having success, it was a lot of the curveball and a lot of changeups, and those pitches were working very, very well, specifically to righties. Painting the low and outside corner to right, pardon me, to righties. And when you don't have a big moving fastball at the major, you necessarily have a lot of things that can play off of that particularly well. You're going to get beat around. It doesn't matter if you're a starter or a reliever, and we're definitely understanding this more now than ever, especially with pitch design, pitch shape, and pitchers and instructors becoming more aware of how to manipulate the baseball to make it something special. And some guys can do it, some guys can't. Actually, some guys can do it. Not many pitchers can. And that's not to bag on Liberatore. A lot of pitchers can't change the traits of their fastball enough to really be super effective. So it's just a matter, I struggle to say long term to just give up on him as a starter. And I definitely want to be on record as saying that I'd rather have Matthews in the rotation right now than Liberatore. I would love for Liberatore to end the season in the bullpen. But I do keep going back to my trust in the pitching development side of the organization. Dusty Blake, the Cardinals pitching coach, that's whatever. I think that people lose their minds about pitching and hitting coaches. I think that it's really just you need a culture change when you decide to fire one of them. I don't think it's about effectiveness, unless they're not catering to the pitcher. But that's a tangent that I'm not going to get on. I'm going to circle back around to just say that, I think that giving up on Matthew Liberatore, as critical as I've been of him since the Cardinals traded for him, I would say that I'm not ready to do it just yet. I think he still has too many talented breaking pitches to just say, put him in the bullpen and hope that he becomes your next JoJo Romero. Give him an off season, give him curriculum, see how much stronger he can get. Let him come to spring training next year with the chance to start. Don't put it on a silver platter for him, and go from there.
And last person, Nolan Gorman. Joe brought him up earlier. You mentioned don't want to give up on Liberatore. Looks like the Cardinals finally, in regards to the Major League roster at this time, finally said enough was enough and sent Gorman down to minor league baseball. And of course, we know that you have eyes, and especially with the minor league product. And it looks like he's been making a lot of good strides with his approach. But what have you been seeing that could possibly bring him back up very soon to the majors?
Well, they made some mechanical changes with him. He's a little bit more upright. He's staying back on the baseball, and he's being a little bit more selective with some of his pitch selection. Of course, there's no translating what's going on at AAA to the major league level, but those are the things that he's doing. And he's still playing a pretty good third base too. He's had a couple clunky moments over the last couple months, but he's another one that I think the fan in me is like, all right, Nolan, see you later. But the analyst in me is like, I can still see the Cardinals finding a way to get value out of him. And then the pretend front office exec is like, we have to find some way to get value out of him. And those three things are always constantly at a wager in my mind when I'm trying to decide what to do. And when two of them favor finding a way to get more value out of this player, I tend to go in that direction. And I don't know what that means for Gorman. If the thing about him is if he can just maintain a level of defense at third base that we saw before he got sent down during the 2026 season, then that's a player who's going to be valuable as left-handed pop off the bench for years. He can make another 5-year career out of it. If Patrick Wisdom can still bang around the minors and get a taste of the majors here and there, he's just kind of a right-handed swinging version of Nolan Gorman. That is definitely reductive. It's not a 1-for-1, but just as a lazy thing to throw out there. There's value in that if you can play third. So on the podcast this week with Wednesdays with Walton and Reis, I was quick to say, right now, if the Cardinals were to try to trade him, teams would say, no, we're not interested. So the only way to get him out of your organization is to try to clear him through waivers, and somebody would probably pick him up at that point. what I'd like to see is I would like to see the Cardinals spend a little bit of time, and I don't want them to give up on Blaze Jordan either, but I'd like to see them spend a little bit of time trying to build up his trade value and hope that you can trade him to some team for a couple of relief prospects somewhere along the lines, because you're still rebuilding the organization, you're still rebuilding the major league roster, and you really need as many wild cards, as many gambits as you can to get through a major league season, especially with bullpen options. So I'm disappointed in the season that he's had. I've also been, just like with Liberatore, a little bit more critical of him over the years, and I don't think he's as bad as he was this year. I think he's probably a baseline player of what he was last year, with some peaks and valleys along the line. But they made some mechanical adjustments, and I know that they're hopeful and excited about some of the things he's taken to and how, again, pardon me, how he's adjusted.
Most definitely. Ashley, any questions?
Yeah, I'm kind of a baseball casual, so but I did have a question about the outlook of the Cardinals. I heard Joe say that they're the youngest team in the league. They've traded Lars Nootbaar, so I just kind of want to know, like, moving forward, even beyond this season, what should we expect the Cardinals to look like?
Well, the toughest thing about prospects in baseball is that you can't really bank on anything. Like Rainiel Rodriguez is their number one prospect. He's a top 20 prospect in baseball, or a top 10 prospect in baseball, or a top 5 prospect, or the best prospect in baseball. He's one of those in some level. But you can never guarantee that he's going to end up being a superstar. Major League Baseball is just a whole different beast because of the 162 and all that. But Rainiel is just the tip of the iceberg. The Cardinals have a tremendous amount of depth at the minor league level, both hitting and pitching. And the changes in player development has allowed the Cardinals to get the most out of a lot of these people, a lot of these players, a lot of their prospect capital. And they keep bringing in guys and having success and getting more and more out of them. So I think it's best illustrated with, earlier in the week, Baseball America put out their top organizations for prospect capital, and the Cardinals were the second richest. There it is, right there. Look at you guys, the farm system rankings, the second richest organization capital. And I saw somebody tweeted it out, and I was really busy today, so I can't say that this is a firsthand account. I didn't read it in their chat or hear it in the chat. But the best way to describe it is they might not have the most top 100 prospects. I think they've got 4 in their top 100 list or 3 in their top 100 list. But prospects 100 through 300, they have a ton of. And those would be the kind of players that you would expect to be high-end role players. Sure, you might not have guys who are huge impact. Those players are capable of getting there. But, Alec Burleson is the kind of guy who is a 100 to 200 prospect on a lot of lists who flashed top 100. Ivan Herrera is the same kind of way. So all of these guys have that kind of cachet that they could be role players, or they could be more. And when the player development staff is working as well as they are, as so many at a time when, pardon me, here it is. Sorry. At a time when so many players are taking huge strides, both pitching and hitting and playing the field, and with a re-emphasis on a rededication on health and fitness and process, there's no reason to think that this couldn't be a quick turnaround and a foundation built for years and years of success. I can't promise that's going to happen. I still think that there's many flawed prospects, but that's why you're a prospect, because you're flawed and you're trying to work through it. Ashley, if I could ask you a question, as you call yourself a casual fan, which is actually my favorite fan, because you don't have to worry about wearing every win and loss, and you're probably not reactionary like the rest of us are. What has been your thought after the deadline? You bring up them trading Lars Nootbaar. Was he one of your favorites? Was it tough to see him get traded? How is the trade deadline kind of impacted your fandom?
I do enjoy following the Cardinals, but I also follow the Boston Red Sox. So it's been nice to see them add pitchers to what's already been a pretty hot rotation. As far as losing Lars Nootbaar for the Cardinals, he was as a casual, probably the only constant that I could recognize. Like when he comes up to bat, obviously at games you're yelling Newt. So seeing him leave, it left a question mark for sure, because it's already a young team. So losing one of the only veteran pieces that you had definitely had me raise an eyebrow. So that's why I asked the question, what direction are the Cardinals going? Do they want to remain young and just, I guess, start over? Is this sort of a rebuild, which is a term that you hear in the NFL or NBA, which are sports that I follow closely? So I just kind of wanted to get a better idea of that. But from my perspective, it seemed to be going in that direction for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think that's what the Cardinals would want to hear. I think the casual fan is probably the most important fan because they're the ones who will tune in when things are. I don't mean this because this has become a derogatory thing. You know, the fair weather fan, and I think that is. I have this thing about it being a really derogatory term that you're not a real fan. You're a fair weather fan. Well, life's complicated. Life is tough. And you got a lot of stuff going on. You know, you don't know when you're going to have a puppy and a head cold and a full-time job and, you know, whatever else is going on with your life. You just don't know. So those casual fans are, frankly, where the money is at. So to hear you say those things and to feel like the Cardinals are headed in the right direction, I think that's the most important thing. I think that aligns with again, us hardcore crazy people and also what the analysts that get paid to do this see, and that's a team headed in the right direction. That the rebuild is fun, right? Because at the beginning of the season, the front office was clear about saying we expect to compete. This is a build, and I will laugh at that nonstop, but that is exactly what this has turned into being. It has the potential to not be a rebuild, but like a refoundation. You know, there's those companies that have like foundation jacking, and that's kind of what the Cardinals had here. They didn't have to tear their house down. They have the potential. Now, anything could happen in the future. You don't know what it's going to look like next year, but they didn't have to tear the house down as of right now. They just had to jack the house up a little bit and hope that it has a strong foundation in the future. Of course, baseball, you just never know, but I think that's a positive. I actually love hearing you say that, and you know, I think that's good. I think the one thing that I do really like as these prospects start coming to the major league level, and you know, I've been quick to say that this is the most fun I've had watching the minor leagues, probably ever. We talked about it maybe 2018 because that was when you could really get into MILB TV. But all the players are fun too. Like not just the way that they play, they're all kind of quirky. You know, they're all interesting guys. They're not boring, you know? So as Quinn Matthews continues to familiarize himself with the fan base, people are going to be like, oh, this dude's weird. And you're going to hear things that you've never heard a prospect say. You know, when as I look at the list, when Liam Doyle makes his major league debut in what'll probably be the next year and a half, again, pardon me, I'm sorry. When he makes his major league debut in the next year and a half, he's going to end up doing something crazy on the mound that's probably going to get the benches to clear. That's, you know, he's been really good about keeping his emotions in check at AA. But I would imagine that in the next couple of years, you're going to see him maybe do something crazy, and we're all going to be talking about how much we love this maniac, you know? And down the line, Durangelo Senja, the switch pitcher who basically only throws right-handed now, probably the most underrated athlete in the organization. He's a freak athlete, and he has a great story, and he's young. And not only the switch pitching of it all, but how he became a switch pitcher. And he's a sweet kid, and which, of course, is nothing for Brandon Clark, who everybody, the lefty who throws 103, who everybody who's ever been around this young man talks about how charming and how sweet and how dedicated he is, how awesome of a person he is. And I think that with – and I know Oliver Marmol is a hot topic still, but whatever culture is being cultivated now that is accepting of tarps off, that is accepting of being a little off, I think that bodes well not only for the next generation of baseball fans or the next generation of baseball players, but I think it bodes well for success and exciting success in the process.
And as you, for everyone else who's watching right now, once again, this is the main show, your Wednesday night sports delight. Got myself Smooth with 3 O's with the raspy voice. Got Ashley, call her Toots or Ash Bash or Cash. We have Jobo. Bunny is right now taking care of some business, so she may or may not be back on. We would definitely see. But we do have our returning friend of the show, Kyle Reis, talking all things baseball. Once again, leave comments, leave questions, hit that share button. Scan the QR code on the top right of your screen. For those tuned in right now on Hot 365 Radio, just go to smoothproductions.com and you'll see all the links to all the different shows and social media as well. But I know that the last time we was on the show and we had you playing Kyle, I had a whole highlight thing going on about Joshua Baez and how he had that 4 home run game. And I know Joe had a lot of questions about him at the time. I did see a tweet that a lot of people were referring to that you left a while back on Baez about his troubles with the high heat, the pitches that's pretty much to his head, and how he may sometimes get on it, but more times than not, he may struggle. But just what are your overall thoughts in regards to him? I've been hearing recently how he has an incredible outfield arm, how he's one of the most athletic players that you would love to have on the team. But just what is your overall thought, and also how soon do you think he'll be called up to the big leagues?
I can't wait to find out the answer to that next question. I do think it'll be September. I know some people have earmarked here in just a couple days, August 15th, 14th, 16th, in that area, because that's when he'll be able to maintain his rookie eligibility for the 2027 season. And of course, since he's been on a couple top 100 prospect lists, and there's a chance that he could end up netting the Cardinals a draft pick next year if they wait a couple days or a week. But I think it'll probably be September, but we'll see. I'll probably be wrong by the end of this week. But I do think we'll see him this year, and I think that's going to be exciting. To the point that I made about the high heat, yeah, that's his one big area. That's the one big area where he's going to need to continue to improve. And I've had a lot of people say, well, because he holds his bat kind of high,
Right,
and he swings really hard. And I've heard people say that, oh, he just needs to drop his hands a little bit, or he needs to swing a little less hard. And I think the second one there, swinging a little less hard, has merit. He doesn't need to let it loose. His bat speed can do it all. He doesn't need to put all of his leverage in it, especially because he's a big kid. But I don't think changing his hand position or his batting stance is going to change the struggle that he's going to have with the upper heat. I think that it's a pitch recognition issue more than anything else. And that's not the knock on him that it sounds like. If your one pitch recognition issue is high heat, you're in good shape, even for a guy who strikes out a lot. Of course, then, like we've talked, you become a little bit more susceptible to outside breaking pitches from righties, inside breaking pitches from lefties, because you're sitting on that high fastball. So that's part of what we've seen him kind of start backpedaling, and having success in July and into August, lowering his K rate and making some more contact, squaring up the ball still. He's still adjusting. The one thing about baseball now is everybody's on this quick timeline to the major leagues. Joshua Baez is still 23. Nathan Church didn't make his major league debut until he was 25, I think. Nathan Church just turned 26 a month ago. And when I was growing up, that was the norm. Now it's, if a guy hasn't made the majors in his AAA age 23 season, you're already losing some of your prospect hype. And frankly, that's just not true. There's still so much development that you're doing. And, the question then is there more development at the major league level? Is there more development at AAA level? We'll see. But he's a freak athlete for his size and his build. He still lumbers around the outfield a little bit, but he's fast. His first step is a little weird. He takes some weird routes. He's definitely, in my opinion, a corner outfielder who you could throw in center and against a pitcher. If you have like Andre Palante on the mound, who puts the ball on the ground a lot, one less thing you have to worry about. But he does have that crazy arm, and he's a great lumbering athlete, and he's just a lot of fun. Again, another incredibly sweet kid, raised in kind of a rough situation, and a rough neighborhood more than anything, and had a really strong female influence in his life, and that's kind of engineered him. He's confident, not cocky. That cockiness has gotten out of him over the humbling first part of his minor league career, and he has the ability to be a really great major league player in some capacity or the other. And again, as these guys make their major league debut, especially if it ends up happening, whether it is by the end of this week or in September or even next year, just a reminder that it takes these guys a while, and especially at the end of a season, you can't really invest too much into success or failure from a statistical standpoint.
I had another question about someone that I followed closely for the Cardinals. Victor Scott, last I saw, he was struggling to hit a little bit, got sent down. Is he still someone that the Cardinals should be excited about despite his struggles this season?
I'm hopeful that an off season, after having the struggles that he has, and I guess a new curriculum brings out the best in him. He hasn't taken the steps that all of those other guys that have been sent down to AAA have. We've seen positive progress out of Nolan Gorman. We've seen positive progress out of Thomas Saggese, honestly. I think you could probably argue that Thomas Saggese's done more for his value than Nolan Gorman has, at least in relative to their hype and cachet. He's the one who just continues to kind of maintain what he is. Now, he's had a little bit of success over the last couple of weeks, but nothing's really changed. He's still kind of the same thing. And even that, I still think if everything's the same, he's still a guy who is going to be very valuable to an organization when used as a fourth outfielder. So, I would say that because of his personality and his skill set, what he's capable of doing, you should still be excited about the potential of Victor Scott having impact at the major league level somewhere down the line. He, of course, can steal a lot of bases, but he needs to continue to refine his ability to steal bases because he needs to be doing it a lot, pretty frequently, as often as he's, as he possibly can. So, long way of answering your question to just say, yes, if you're excited about Victor Scott, you still should be. There are big flaws in his game that probably prevent him from being a full-time, everyday center fielder for a competing major league club, but that doesn't mean that he can't carve out a niche for himself for the Cardinals or another organization just by being the player that he is and showing the athleticism that he is. He just the bat is weird because he's a tough prospect to develop. He's a tough prospect to put your thumb on. This is how you need to develop. There's a school of thought that says get it on the ground and let your speed eat. There's a school of thought that says, just hit line drives, just line drive swing, work on bunting, get down on the bases, let your speed eat. And then there's my line of thinking, which is the opposite of all this with him. And I'm in the minority, which is I actually want to see him swinging for the fences. I think he needs to be reverse engineered that way. And I've been beat up for this by people who are brilliant in the industry, people who have real sway for this. But to me, that's what I would like. I just want to see him sell out is what I would like to see. And if he at the end of the year, if he has a 40% strikeout rate at Memphis, you can at least build from there. You can slow him down and you can rebuild him. And I think that's where he needs to be. He doesn't need to be, hey, Vic, work on bunting. Hey, Vic, work on hitting the ball on the ground. Just try to bloop the ball over the infielders' heads. I think it's, you know what, dude? Just go out there and mash. Just see what happens. Don't sit on fastballs, sit on breaking pitches, do whatever you want. Just go out there and mash and see what happens.
I love that you said that because I feel the same way about him. I always felt like the exit velo when he hits the ball is quite amazing when he puts the ball in the air. But like you said before, the organization, like they were doing with Jordan Walker his first year, they saw how Walker was hitting the ball on the ground, and they wanted to change up his whole, way of swinging to always swing up in the air. And now he's realizing, yes, he won the home run derby, but as you said before, most importantly, what he's doing is learning how to be productive by hitting the ball hard. And, not saying he's trying to go for power every time, but he's finding his own way. And it goes back to what you said before about Joshua Baez and others, where the organization has been rushing these guys up. Because Victor Scott, the only reason why he made the team 2-3 years ago was because someone else, I think it was Bader or someone else,
Carlson.
Carlson. He got injured, and so that gave a spot to Victor Scott, but he got rushed up. He wasn't ready. And so now, and especially with this new regime with Chaim Bloom, you're seeing something that we've been wanting for the longest time, and that's seeing a true development of these young players, because all this gonna have them do is two things: either show them that you're not really ready and you don't really want it, or you're gonna be a productive MLB player. And like you said, with this curriculum that's going on now, that should only help these guys on this team. Which leads me to this question, because I brought up the list earlier in regards to our rankings of the top 10 prospects. I want you to fill in the blank if you can. But this is the most loaded prospect ranking or prospects that we've had in the organization since.
I think for me, it's okay. So this is tough. I think most people in baseball would say 2013. That was Waka, Oscar Tavares. I mean, it was just all those prospects that ended up making a major league impact. For me, I will always look upon the 2018 group as 2017, 2018 as being incredibly underrated. It did not get the publicity it deserved. Back then, like Carson Kelly was one of the top prospects, but down ballot, you had Zach Gallen and Paul DeYoung. There is an incredible amount of talent in that 2018 group, both from the hype and also guys who ended up producing at the major league level. So for me, it's 2018, but I get why so many people in the industry are saying 2013, because that was the last time the Cardinals were ranked number one as an organization from a farm system ranking. And so that's, for me, it'll be 2018, but I get why people are saying 2013. Now, it would not be me to come on the podcast and not have something inappropriate to talk about. And so it's worth saying that, we got a puppy, right? And this puppy is a boy, and he's 2 years old, and 2 months old. I'm sorry, 2 months old. Thank you. He's 2 months old, and we were trying to potty train him, and it's a nightmare. It really is. But he's actually, I joke around. He's actually doing really well. He's doing great peeing. He's doing great. The pooping is where he's having trouble, and he's not having trouble pooping. He's just having trouble pooping on the pads and in the right areas. You know how it is. It's a 2-month-old. We've had him since Friday. I have a girl dog. Her name is Agnes. We call her Aggie. She's 2 years old. That's where the 2 years old came from. She's a mini dachshund. And as I am talking about Victor Scott just moments ago, she is going to hump town on him as if. So I just want to say, if ever there was a sign that Victor Scott's going to turn it around, it's that right there.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So that's, I feel like I need to share with you guys. I'm over here barely keeping it together.
I was wondering what you were laughing at.
Yeah, that's it. Oh boy. Yeah.
I love it. So Ashley brought up in regards to a rebuild, and for what I've noticed, it's not just a rebuild in regards to on the field or with the players. It's also been a rebuild with the organization and the front office. And I listened to 101 ESPN this morning, and I'm probably gonna butcher his name, but Anouk, is that Karunaranti?
Karunaratne.
Hey, there we go. Thank you very much. I'll just say Anouk K. He was on, but pretty much, as you all know, St. Louis Cardinals fans, that it has been decided by a fan vote that the Navy Caps on the Road is officially back as the primary road caps. I love it. I never understood why that happened in the first place. I thought it was just kind of stupid, but I'm glad it's back. But it's stuff like that we have been wanting to feel from the organization, from the front office for years, that the fans are finally being heard. And I think that's just something that has been missing for quite some time, maybe over the last 5-6 years, in regards to just doing something that the fans like. And Hein Bloom and Anouk K, they came in, and what I love the most, and I've been saying this to Joe as well, but it was so important to have outside people come into the organization and shake things up. You know what I'm saying? Not someone who's been with the team for 30 years and whatever it is and want to still do this Cardinal thing. It was time for us to establish something different and to bring in these outside guys who says, You know what? I'm seeing what's going on in our development, and it sucks. They ain't gonna say it in public, but they gonna say it sucks. And they're coming in and they're changing things around and making things better. So, like you said, for the Libbies, he can have a whole offseason next year and might all of a sudden it might click. Victor Scott, it might click. Gorman, it might click. You know, you've already seen the progress with, excuse me, with Walker. You know, um, just so many great things. So, just talk about from your standpoint how impressed you have been with the rebuild of the front office.
Yeah, for years now, it didn't matter what podcast I came on. I would say maybe since COVID, I've been one of these people who have been clamoring for a very, very long time about the organization needing outside influence in order to progress in a positive way. And it's tough. Like, as a fan, I can sit here and say that they needed it. But when I put myself in the shoes of the people making the decisions, especially in a business setting, like, I would want to promote from within. I would want to have people that wanted to work for me, and I would want to have people that I would want to promote from within. So when I say that promoting from within was stupid and they should never have continued to do it without looking seriously in the outside, it does come with the caveat that that's the kind of business I want to work for, and that's the kind of business that would get the best out of me. It's just if I was good enough. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, they had good people, but just people who weren't in a position that was best suited for them. Like, for instance, there is a gentleman in the news for the Anaheim Angels, or Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, is Tim Levesque. Tim Levesque was the Cardinals minor league pitching coordinator, and now he's the pitching coach for the Angels. And Mo brought him over after firing Mike Maddox. Now, Tim Levesque is everything I'm going to say is a secondhand account. I have not talked to Tim Levesque. This is all what people associated have told me, and multiple people, not just one. I mean, a good amount of people. And Tim is an awesome guy. He understands pitching. He's a great pitching mind. But at least with the Cardinals organization, he's not a general. He is a lieutenant. He's somebody that you say, hey, look, this is what we want to do. Help instill it. And, you're not going to ask questions. And he's going to do it really well. He's capable of that. But he needs somebody pushing him. And the Cardinals didn't have anybody pushing him. They had a gentleman who I affectionately refer to as Grandpa Gary LaRocque, who was stuck in 1984 and didn't take the job as seriously or the change in baseball serious enough. And it set the organization back. And, of course, when you're the boss, like John Mozeliak was or Michael Gersh was, you have to take the hit too when you're unwilling to move on from an asset that is depreciated and depreciating quickly, like Gary LaRocque was and continues to be. So again, I don't want to bang on Gary LaRocque, because for 10 years, Gary was an important part of the Cardinals organization and was on the cutting edge and up to the trends of Major League Baseball. But all those guys, all of those people were not in the right position for them. And now the Cardinals have leaders at the top. Randy Flores is a leader. He gets the most out of that scouting group. Zach Mortimer is becoming a leader. He gets the most out of what he's supposed to do with the scouting group. They've got it throughout the entire organization. Anouk K, who, what a great tasting cereal that would be, is great for the business side. He and Bill DeWitt III, who I call Triple Sticks and Anouk K. Oh boy, it's like a Kevin Smith movie. Now that I'm realizing it, they're doing great things on the business side, and Anouk is from the Toronto Blue Jays, and at first it didn't look like anything was going to change, but then this beautiful thing happens, which was tarp off, and it allows them to be aggressive. The old sales crew might not have been as aggressive with the tarps off. It might have been, oh, this is a cool thing. Here's $6 tickets for tarps off in the Upper Terrace Reserve, instead of being like, no, this is the tarps off group. You come, it's not going to cost you anything, and you just keep doing what you're doing, and let's have some fun. Let's live it up. There was obviously, although Bill DeWitt III says that they had run polls about this, but it was never in the public, in my knowledge, about the Navy caps on the road. Anouk did it, and now we have those beautiful Navy caps on the road for what will hopefully be the rest of my life, however long that is. And but then you get back to the development side, and it's Larry Day, Rob Cerfolio. and they're leaders, and they're inspiring leaders who get the most out of their lieutenants, and their lieutenants have the capability of being leaders. And that's just not something that the Cardinals honestly had under Gary LaRocque. And I don't want to say that under John Mozeliak, although it was under him, and he could have changed it at any moment. But that's really what it comes down to. It's everything is operating full tilt, and a lot of that is just how communicative and how open and how willing to take input and hire the right people for jobs as Chaim Bloom is. You know, Rob Cerfolio was the first step. He really does predate Chaim Bloom, although Chaim Bloom was responsible for choosing him. But Rob Cerfolio was the table setter, the trend setter, the communicator, the modern thinker that did not spit on old baseball, who understood what the B-Fibs and everybody who's ever listened to a game on KMOX calls the Cardinal way, and understood it and appreciated it and knew it had to be modernized. And it's just been the first step to changing the culture and getting the Cardinals where they need to be. And a lot of words to really just say everything's operating incredibly smoothly right now. And it's fun. And we're seeing it at every level and every capacity. And a lot of that is simply not because of who left, but because of who's entered the organization behind the scenes.
So
Since we mentioned Mo,
go ahead,
sorry.
Joe.
I was just going to say we mentioned Mo and then the whole Mike Maddox thing. You know, they let go of Maddox, their bullpen coach, and I think some other pitching coach. But then also I don't know, I was telling my husband last night whenever all this happened, I'm like, man, I kind of feel like this is like the first time, and I mean, as long as I can remember, the Mariners, the Angels had some good pitching, you know, like Urena and Kajonowitz. I know he's on the IL, and Soriano they traded to the Blue Jays. Reed Detmers is having a great year this year, and I'm kind of like head scratching, you know. So I don't know if Mo had something with Maddox or what. I mean, he hired him before, but then I guess what was your? I mean, I know there's Angels fans out there. I think they were ranked 15th in Baseball America. They were like over the moon about this because they have not been that high or low, however you want to say it, in so long. So, what do you think of Mo's deadline with actually making some moves? Angels fans were happy that they were trading people and were hoping to maybe even trade Neto and so on and so forth. So, I don't know. It's kind of like Mo. Where was this a couple of years ago? Because again, I was hoping and praying for a rebuild about 4 or 5 years ago, and now he goes to the Angels and he's doing it right away.
It's so funny. I mean, so funny how that trade deadline happened and the lead up to it. All any of us wanted is for Mo to get crazy once or twice, and it took him retiring for 3.5 hours and then entering another organization on an interim basis and just saying, "All right, let's do it." Retirement. Pardon me. Retirement is boring for me. Let's just see how it goes. And say he kind of lit the world on fire there for a second. The Mike Maddox thing, I give him credit. Mike Maddox is old, and he's old school, and he hasn't done anything to help any pitcher other than in a very softly complimentary way, like, oh yeah, Maddox is great for us, blah blah blah. He hasn't done it, and he fired him for the same reason twice, which was his inability to introduce and use tech. And that's the difference. That's really what it comes down to. You know, I give him John Mozeliak a lot of credit. I don't know if he's going to end up becoming the Angels president of baseball operations. I don't know if he'll keep the GM title. I don't know if he'll stay with the organization. But it makes me happy as someone who has a little bit of a relationship with him just from the blogging universe, not anything like behind the scenes or anything, that he's going to get a chance to just do what Chaim Bloom has done for the Cardinals, to go into an organization and, you know, instruct them on things that they can do and maybe get a chance to be praised by another organization. Mo gets caught in the middle because a lot of fans say that they only won championships with Walt Jocketty's guys, and now he drove the organization into the ground. Well, part of the reason why the Cardinals are successful right now is some of the things that he did while he was here. And of course, the lead up to the Cardinals having success after he took over as general manager after Walt Jocketty was what he did on the scouting and development side, So I just would like to see him get a chance to show what he's capable of in whatever capacity that he wants it. Again, whether it's just as this interim guy who comes in and helps them, or if it's a GM or a president of baseball operations. I loved what he did at the deadline. I thought it was fun, and it's an exciting time. And I'm gonna root for that guy. He's responsible. He was the head of a lot of really fun Cardinal teams, and I can't get upset about him. I'm sure I hated the fact, like you said, Joe. I hated the fact the way that those last couple of years were. It sucked. Caught in the middle that way. Not investing money into the farm system, but that could very well just has been as easy as needing somebody from the outside to tell ownership that that's what they needed, more so than Mo, being trapped in the middle or whatever. So I don't know. It was fun. It was exciting, and it was hilarious that John Mozeliak was the one making moves that we thought Chaim Bloom was going to be making, and Chaim Bloom was waiting until 3 hours before the deadline to make great trades. No disrespect there.
So as we wrap things up with our friend of the show, Kyle Reis, Busch Stadium, why hasn't it not been a great home advantage in your eyes for this team? Because all we're hearing is maybe they should bring in the fences, which it did sound good at first, but then I'm like, no, because you got like the Brewers. They don't hit a lot of home runs, but they know how to play their style of baseball and still win. What is something that you're seeing when this team comes home from a great road trip where they win a lot of their series? Now, granted, this past home trip, home, whatever you want to call it, homestand. Thank you. They did great, pretty much. That they won both their series. But what is it about Busch Stadium that's holding this team back from doing better things?
I am one of these people, and we know that the data shows that Busch Stadium really suppresses power and slug, and that's again irrefutable. You can't argue it. But I also think sometimes we get caught up in results when sometimes it's just you just got to play the game. I remember a couple of years back, the Cardinals were terrible on the road to start the year, and I think they were like 15 games below 500. They started the year like 0-12 or something crazy like that. The numbers are wrong that I'm giving you, by the way. Those are not real numbers. It was really bad. They were really bad to start the year, and I think they finished that year like 2 games below 500 on the road, which is really perfectly acceptable. I think sometimes these things just happen, and I know that's crazy. The power suppression's happening for both teams, so it's really what you're getting is what type of offense you're producing. What kind of small ball are you playing, and not the bunting a guy over and productive outs that aren't productive at all because you get 3 outs in an inning before you actually score a run. Never mind you advance somebody over on a bunt. It's not really productive, but we call it productive because we don't really think before we talk sometimes. I am the poster child for that. That's how I know. I can see it through the brush. But I think it really comes down to baseball being baseball. I really do. I think if you took this team again next year and played that they could very well played the same schedule, they could very well be having success without the offensive capabilities. I think really what it boils down to, and I don't have the numbers to prove this. I think it boils down to the fact that the Cardinals bullpen is trash, and it's been really bad for a really long time. And if the bullpen was a little bit better, a little bit more talented, then we'd be talking about the power suppression, the offensive issues, but we'd be talking about more wins than losses. And to the very lovely Alice Williams, her question, what do you mean by power suppression? It's just you can't hit the ball over the fence at Busch Stadium. It's really difficult for major league hitters to do. There is a school of thought that says ever since they built Ballpark Village that it's changed how the wind swirls, and that's suppressed power. That's probably true. The Cardinals, I remember a couple years back, said that they ran a bunch of tests on it, had a bunch of engineers look at it and run some modeling, and that said that it was inaccurate. But I mean, maybe it is, maybe it's not. So they're not slugging, they're not hitting home runs. And it is one of the stadiums that it's hardest to be offensively productive at in all of baseball for many, many years now. So that's really it. We know that this is a talented group. We know Alec Burleson, Ivan Herrera, JJ Weatherholt, Jordan Walker, Mason Wynn. It's awesome to see him start coming back around. And I think that this is a precursor of what he's going to do in 2027. I really do. But they've got players who are talented, and they're just having a lot of balls die at the wall or die in the gap. I famously in 2022, the playoffs in 2022, the Cardinals are playing the Braves, and Nolan Arenado hits a home run or hits a ball that he thought was a home run. Everybody in the world thought was a home run off the bat, and it died 4 feet in front of the wall. And that's what we mean by power suppression. There's something in the alleys of that stadium, the dimensions that make it tough to put the ball over the wall, and the ball kind of hangs up too, which limits the doubles.
Hey, doubles though, that's not help. That's not hurting Herrera right now because he's been hitting them left and right.
Right. Thank God he got hot again because he had a terrible lull in June, July. It was like if he just could have been somewhat decent in June, July, our record would be so much better. But him losing what he had for those, them last 2 months, that really hurt this team. And especially when you are a guy that's batting in the top 4 of your lineup every game, you have to be productive some way. It can't have 2 months of barely doing anything. You just can't. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I have two short, easier questions, I guess. That ball did literally lie. I remember watching that and getting so excited, and I think that's when Nato wanted to get out of here.
Yeah,
it was that moment.
It broke him.
Yeah, it broke him. First one, I know I asked you this preseason. I think you said the A's about teams that you would be interested in seeing throughout this year. Who's another team besides the Cardinals that you've kind of enjoyed watching, just all around, whether they've been good or bad or whatever?
Well, I always, and I don't watch a lot of them. I always keep an eye on them. I am pro Seattle Mariners. I will always love the Seattle Mariners. They were, because of Ken Griffey Jr. and Randy Johnson and A-Rod when I was a kid, I've always been interested in them. My brother Michael lives in Portland, so they're the closest team to him. And, Randy Arozarena, and granted, he's been hurt most of the year. Brendan Donovan are there. And they've got interesting, good players. Julio Rodriguez. I don't keep a super close eye. But they're the team that I probably look at the most and keep the closest eye on. I really like what they do, and the fact the fact that they get lost in kind of the shuffle because they play on the West Coast and they're in the northern westmost corner of the country. Right. Makes me more interested in them. So, and Jerry DiPoto, their president of baseball operations or GM or whatever his title is just an interesting cat. And I really like that. So yeah, the Sacramento, Oakland, Los Angeles, Las Vegas of it all with the A's is still something I try to keep an eye on a little bit. And of course, whatever their future might be, I know they've made progress on building a park, and really now it's just keeping an eye on not the team, but what's going to happen with Tampa Bay and their stadium issue, which I have not kept a really close eye on, but I've maintained serious interest in, because every couple of weeks, every month now, it seems like there's a new proposal. This is the one we're building. And then you read a little bit and they're like, no, we're not building that. There's a lot of loopholes we still have to go through. And then, of course, what might happen as we get out of a collective bargaining strife this offseason with expansion, because I still think that when we get out of whatever happens this offseason, and I'm not in the predicting business. I don't, at least with this, I'll predict. I mean, I can predict anything you want me to. I'll try. But, I think with the collective bargaining side, I can't predict if it's going to be a long work stoppage or no work stoppage at all or anything in between. But I do feel that it is in baseball's best interest, one way or the other, for them to come out with an expansion plan. And I think that'd be good for baseball. I think it'd be good for rekindling a little bit of that baseball romance, and whatever cities and towns those are involved in, I'm probably going to dive pretty heavy headfirst into.
Yeah, that's one option, I guess, that people have been putting out there that they think could help save the CBA or just baseball in the future, is, adding a couple more teams to the league. So that's intriguing. But, and I can't with the Mariners. I can't.
Yeah.
They obviously, I know, but they play the Astros this weekend, and I know the Astros are in first right now, but I can't. Okay. Anyway, my last question, to me and my husband talk about this a lot. What do you think the future with third base is with the Cardinals? Because I don't think we have anyone in our farm system. You tell me, because obviously you're the pro with the farm system, but I don't see anyone. I'm not exactly sure if Blaze Jordan's the future third baseman of the St. Louis Cardinals. I would not like to move JJ over there. I like him at second a lot. I like him and win up the middle. So I don't know. Is there someone in the farm system that we're not seeing as just? I mean, I'm not a casual fan, obviously, but like I'm not like crazy into the farm system like you are. But is there someone out there that that we should know about, or do you think it's something that maybe we use some of these prospects that we have and we make a trade in the future?
Well, I think right now maybe the hottest prospect in all of the as Tate, our good friend Tate Roberts, right there says, right now the hottest prospect is Jesus Baez. We mentioned him a little earlier in the program. 21-year-old Cardinals acquired from the Mets at the deadline last year in the Ryan Helsley trade, and there's some work ethic questions as he entered the Cardinals organization, which I've been told have been put to rest. And part of the reason why he's become this masher, this 30 home runs at the minor league level, hammering the ball at AA now, is because he's rededicated himself to baseball, gotten himself in a better shape. And he plays short now. He plays, and this is where we get fun. This is where I have fun with words, because I'm going to tell you he's minor league average, or he's minor league above average, or minor league plus. And that's just a fancy way of saying that he's not as good as he's not really as good at the major league level. So he's like minor league above average at short, which means he's probably some level of average at the major league level. He's kind of slow on his first step, and he not lumbers. He has a very round way about him that isn't exactly a straight line kind of thing. So he's kind of minor league above average at short. Has the potential to be minor league above average at third, and he has a monster bat. And really his best position, probably long term, in part because of his body and the way his body moves, is probably second base. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that when he does make his major league debut, if he stays on this track, if he can keep dedicated to his craft, that it is as the Cardinals' third baseman in maybe a year, as we get past the trade deadline next year, or at the beginning of 2028. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. But at the same time, there's another third baseman at Springfield who also plays first, and his name's Daniel Ortiz. And Ortiz broke his hamate. But I don't know if he broke his hamate. He had a hand issue early on in the AA season, and he missed a bunch of the season. And since he's come back, he's been really, really good as a hitter. A righty. They're both righties. They both have the ability to mash. Ortiz is more of a patient hitter, and Baez is more of a attack hitter. So that's kind of one difference. And of course, Baez is the better defender of the two, but they both have defensive questions. So I would say that, like in my world, if I'm running the team, and you subtract Nolan Gorman out of the whole deal, just pretend like he doesn't exist. I am one of these people that are on board for Blaze Jordan getting the run at third base next year, at the beginning of the year, because again, for me, next year is still a build year. Sure, you're going to try to do a playoff experience, but unless he tanks really bad down the stretch here, I think you have to give him the chance to have a full off season and maybe run with third base a little bit, especially with interesting utility options that can back him and spell him a little bit. And then from there, I really do think that it's the next group of prospects that are currently at AA, and Jesus Baez and Daniel Ortiz, with the flashy name being Baez, because right now all he's doing is hammering the baseball. Although I think there's reason to suspect that as he gets to more advanced pitching, his ambush styles might end up hurting him a little bit. He's going to need to be a little bit more patient, but he makes a ton of contact, and a ton of contact in zone in particular, and he makes smart swing decisions. So maybe he's not. Maybe he can carry a 16% strikeout rate and a 7% walk rate all the way to the major leagues with slugging. But yeah, I think if you're looking in the organization, those are the first two names that you come up with and think, all right, that's our next hope at this position. And I think they're both exciting for various different reasons.
So, Ashley, any last questions?
Yeah, I guess this is a league-wide question. What team to you is not reflective of their record? I guess what's a team at the top right now that may not be as good as their record says come postseason?
It's funny. I think the team that I always default to is the White Sox, but I also don't watch the White Sox a lot.
I'm literally watching them right now, and Luis Castillo, speaking of the Mariners for one, he cut the braids, the dreads a little bit, so like that was weird seeing him. It's like right here.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it was him, but one hit shutout against the Reds in Chicago right now. They're up 3-0. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I did not expect them to be good this year, but the AL Central is freaking wild. The Tigers sold, and they're in second right now, I think.
Yeah.
So, and I think my husband's listening to me because he just texted me 10Ks too. So I think Luis Castillo also had 10Ks. So he literally just texted me. But maybe he's watching. I don't know. But he said yes. LOL. But yeah, so I mean, he had a great game. I know the Reds haven't been what people. Oh, he says, tell Kyle I love him.
I love you too.
But no, I know the Reds haven't been what people kind of hope/wish for, with Terry Francona as their manager and, the pitching depth that they have. But I don't know. I mean, that has to be almost kind of annoying watching as a Mariners fan because, last time I looked, it was 5-5 in Yankee Stadium, and Bryce Miller on my fantasy squad gave up 5 earned runs. So, what do you do?
Yeah, that's a really great point. That's why the White Sox are stunning to me that they're playing so well, but they're doing that thing that the Cardinals got away with doing, which is you just pitch and you play good defense, play small, you out small ball the other team, and you find yourself walking into a lot more wins than you otherwise might have. On the opposite of that, you bring up the Reds. I think about the Pirates. I know that there's a lot of people out there, and it's for good reason, who are crazy about run differential. And the Pirates would be the one team that you look at and you're like, all right, this team is better than last place in the NL Central. Like they're better than 16 games back of the Brewers, 3.5 games back of the Cardinals. And I see that, they bought at the deadline, bought a lot of bullpen to try to help them get through their bullpen deficiencies. So I think if I were to choose like the two teams on the opposite ends of the spectrum, like I look at that White Sox lineup and I'm like, I really don't understand how any of this is happening. But it's cool that it's happening. And like you said, Joe, that all of a sudden Luis Castillo's there and pitching well. All right, cool. All right. And, the Pirates on the other end, which I am thankful for.
I don't know what Smooth just pulled up.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was trying to pull this up. Actually, it was the standings. As you talking about the White Sox and how they're 3 games up over the Twins and Tigers, but then the Pirates, and you talking about the run differential. Like, look at that, plus 13. Then, but you got the Reis -73 and the us -1. So it's like they should be better, but they're not.
Yeah,
and it's crazy.
Absolutely. Well, guys,
I am
sorry.
Make sense sometimes.
I am done. I apologize. I'm starting to get really hoarse. I apologize, but that's it for me for this evening.
Sorry about that. Totally appreciate you being on the show once again, and thank you for just being willing to take the time that you did to be on our show, and we look forward to catching up with you again very soon, and hopefully there'll be no more natural disasters, no sicknesses. It'll be all good. So thank you for taking time out, and please get well, and we look forward to having you back on again.
Well, again, thank you for being patient with me, and I apologize every possible way I can for the way I sound, and also almost missing you guys the first time. You're the best. I love talking it over with you, and I just really appreciate it. No, my bourbon of choice from Sweet Jones 82 is normally I drink Old Forester, the 100 proof. It's in an orange bottle. I just love Old Forester. I said I was going to drink bourbon and hammer a NyQuil. I think it's 9 o'clock now. I'm going to have to choose one or the other when that alarm comes off at 5 a.m. I'm not sure what kind of, what I'll look like when I wake up. You know what I mean?
NyQuil might make you feel more like ass in the morning, so you might just have to go for the bourbon.
Well, Joe, if you say so.
All right. Well, Kyle, thank you very much, and take care of yourself. And we'll speak again very soon.
I can't wait, guys. Thank you very much. You're the best, and enjoy your nights, and talk to you soon.
All righty.
Bye.
Yeah, so Joe, you were asking me what the heck I was showing earlier. So you know how the Cardinals just got the fans brought back
Yeah.
the Navy caps on the road. I've been saying this since Fox Sports Midwest stopped doing it for some odd reason. But I want the Cardinals to bring back this view on the left. This was prior to 2000 and I believe 18 or 17, where they had the pitching camera was the overhead and it showed everything. You know what I'm saying? The great visual. I used to love seeing that view back in the day. What you see on the right is what they currently have right now. Where
Is that Jose Martinez? Who is that batting right
yeah,
now?
yeah, that
Okay.
is.
I'm
Yeah,
like, that is Jose.
yeah,
His
but
view
that's
makes
that's
sense.
that's pretty much the most recent camera angle that they've been having over the last 10 years or so. But I wish that whoever has control of the angle that they could bring back the one on the left because I used to love that nice overhead. I mean, you saw everything. You saw the whole batting area. You could see the pitches very good, and just to me, I just loved it. And then I was surprised because when I think they were playing the Cubs a few weeks ago here in St. Louis, and they had the regional broadcast, of course, on Cardinals dot TV, but TBS had the national broadcast, and they actually had that view on the left. And I was like, "Oh my God, if they can do that, why?" But I did some research. I think they said because they were trying to pretty much appease all the regional networks, so that's why they wanted to have the view on the right. But I'm like, that's stupid. The view on the left with the overhead center, like that's it. You know what I'm saying? You got to go ahead and make that happen. So that's my only other request is that we bring back the center overhead, showing the picture, of course, showing both the hitter, the batter, and the hitter, but just showing this overhead view. I hope they bring that back. But
All right, Cardinals, put a poll out for the fans.
right, exactly. But I mean, outside of that, and Bunny is right now gone. But yes, ladies, y'all thoughts on having Kyle Reis on the show?
Ashley, I'll let you go first since this was your first time having him. Well, being here when he was here.
No, he was very insightful. Definitely enjoyed how in depth he was with his responses. At the most surface level, you could tell that he obviously follows the game. So I one, appreciate him joining, obviously being under the weather, but also to appreciate the way that he was able to go deep in his responses, especially for someone like myself, like I said, just someone that's casual and not really in depth with the game. So it was nice having him.
And I love having Kyle on the show. Love hearing his thoughts on the minor league system, his thoughts within the organization, and then obviously talking about prospects and other systems and just other teams and whatnot. But no, I always love having him on, and hopefully next season we get him on for a couple more times, or like preseason, midseason, like we did this year. The off-center view is what we grew up on. I thought the logic back in the day was to not have it in the batter's line of sight. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to the Rangers broadcast, but the Rangers is like way back, and the batter and the umpire and the catcher look like little dots on the screen. So I don't know if you could do like somewhere in between there, then yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't hated what we've gotten, the last couple of years. Man, Fox Sports. That was, remember the Blues opening theme.
Oh yeah.
Me and Brendan do this all the time. We go do 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 do.
Okay, so here, oh yeah, right. I remember that. Dun, 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 dun. Blues hockey. So
This is Blues hockey.
so so this is the reason why they changed that camera angle. It says it was altered ahead of the 2019 season to an offset diagonal angle to accommodate digital live strike zone graphic boxes without visual obstruction. So technology.
Technology. Well, it's 2026, so figure it out.
Exactly. If TBS can do it, I'm sure everyone else can do the same thing. 'Cause I think for a minute ESPN was doing it, with the old center view, center field camera view overhead that I love for the playoffs. I think, matter of fact, that year that we lost against the Phillies, they had that camera angle too. So, like I said, come on now, let's do better. But as we go ahead and end, I know that we had a pretty much a pre what has your attention. We talked about a lot of them on Mizzou. But Joe, did you have anything that had your attention outside of what we discussed with Kyle Reis before we go ahead and leave?
No, I mean, I slightly mentioned it there at the end, but just the Tigers are just an anomaly. Like, are they good or bad for baseball, I guess? And I think it was BK and Ferrario's show that was talking about it, or maybe Stalter and Rivers. But, like, are they good or bad because, that going into this year, they were projected to be the clear winner of the AL Central. And then they were off bad. They started to get hot again, and then they were kind of stumbling. And then they trade Scooball, they trade Casey Mize at the deadline. And ever since then, I mean, they lost tonight, but ever since then, they've been playing some of the best baseball, all year, bringing up one of their top prospects, Max Clark, Kevin McGonigal's up, and they're either in a playoff spot right now or right there. So, and this is what they did a couple years ago, too. Just traded Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers. Dodgers went on to win a World Series, and the Tigers still made the playoffs. So, like, I don't know. They're just like a weird team for me, because I think it was someone on the show. I can't remember who, but they were saying like they're good for the game because they're giving everyone pretty much what they want, but no, because they're still a team that's doesn't spend a lot of money. They make the playoffs, but they don't win anything. They're the Brewers. They can draft and develop good, but they're make it to the playoffs and then they don't do anything. So I don't know.
Buffalo
Tigers, Tigers are just kind of weird to me. I don't know, but that's something that's kind of like just caught my eye lately, and just I don't know. I think I said it the last 2 years. Baseball's just been very, very weird, like standing wise, I guess. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect when October comes. I really don't.
Ash Bash, how about yourself?
I'm gonna switch sports. It is Kyler Murray being named starter for the Minnesota Vikings, and then JJ McCarthy following with saying that he still wants to be part of the Vikings organization. I'm interested in seeing how that shakes out in the NFC North, and if Justin Jefferson's numbers get better because of Kyler Murray, or if they still kind of hit this plateau. But that's what I'm interested in so far.
I'm just hoping that Kyler Murray is able to see over the offensive line.
Yeah.
If he can see, then he can probably do some things special. But yeah, that team has had a lot of bad luck too, man. The Vikings. It's like, you think they might have that stretch. It's so bad that the guy that they released very next year won a freaking Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when you know that you got it bad. When the guy that was your quarterback was released, and the very next year he wins a Super Bowl. Like that has to really hurt. If you are a Vikings fan. But the fact that we're talking about football means that football is officially back. We've had the Hall of Fame game last week. About to have a slate, I believe, starting maybe tomorrow of preseason games. So football is back. Still waiting on the official decision of Aaron Donald and if he will officially come back to the Rams. If he does, oh my God, Stan and Sadar are gonna be crazy, Joe. They already are in the chat now.
Yeah, I heard it on 101 today. Is biggest question mark for the Rams. Will they go undefeated if they can stay healthy? Because they're
right.
They're kind of older and stuff. And then they said the same thing about the 49ers, and then they said that, and I thought about those two. I'm like, here we go again. Those two are going to be battling it out on GroupMe, bickering about their two teams. But But yeah, if they could stay healthy, then yeah, both teams are going to be pretty dang good.
Yeah. The last thing for me, and I know that the ladies y'all talked about this a little bit. Craig Black definitely had a strong opinion on this. But ever since the episode of last week of Ladies Night, the WNBA continues to get this bad press, and it has gotten worse ever since the last show, especially with former NBA players Enes Kanter and Royce White saying, and we thought that they're joking, but like no, they serious about this, that they want to enter the WNBA draft as transgender people, and it's just really it sucks because as y'all brought up last week, Kaylin Clark has came in and has of course brought more money, and the undertone that a lot of the WNBA athletes, especially the black women, do not want to really say this, but a lot of the stuff that they have done uh, has not brought in as much money as what Kaylin Clark is doing in just what 3 years, and she's became this polarizing figure for, I believe, not the way that she hoped or she imagined that she would be, and it's making the WNBA sound more political than it is about on the court. And now you got the issue with the transgender situation, and then going back to the fever, y'all saw what's her name, Dejana Carrington hit Sophia Cunningham, and then right after the game on Threads, she put in white privilege at Indiana Fever. So like it's just so many other stories going on that's really more so off the court than it is on the court. And I just hope that our favorite commissioner, Kathy Engelbert,
If only Bunny was still on.
oh man, she might pop back on now that I said her name. But it's just been unfortunate to see the direction that the WNBA has been getting, because it's not going. Because of course the off season it was all about the CBA and them everyone getting more money. So it was like, yes, here we go. But as the song says, more money, more problems. Because that's exactly what has been the case with the WNBA.
Last week and the weeks before that, we were always saying, any publicity is good. But now I don't know anymore. Like it's getting yucky out there with the WNBA with all the attention they're getting, and then you got the Fever's coach saying that she thought the play was fine at first, and then she backtracked and saying she didn't see it in real time, and she's right there watching it in the freaking video, like you see her. I don't know. It's just been, I don't really pay that much attention until I see stuff like this pop up, and then in the stuff I see is what we talk about on the show. But it's just constant bad publicity at this point, and I don't know how they come back from it, really.
Yeah, and it is something, and I think Annie said this a while back too, that Caitlin Clark can't continue to be the. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not. It's not for me to say stuff, or I'm not in position. It's going to have to come to a point where she's going to have to stand out and say something about what's going on in the league. We're not saying that it's her fault, but there's something. And Ashley, please give us your opinion. But it's just something that needs someone of her caliber, I would say, is going to have to stand up and speak out more and not be silent. Because if you keep on being silent, the league is going to continue to get bad press.
Of whose caliber?
The Caitlin Clarks, the Asia Wilsons, the top stars.
I was going to say Asia Wilson probably needs to speak up on it because she's the best player in the league. She's the most known player in the league. She's the one that's probably going to say something to try to calm the waters. I don't even know what I'm trying to say about it. I honestly don't think if Caitlin Clark came out and tried to say something to, call him everything, I don't think it's going to do anything, because she already gets a bad rep anyways, because I feel like the league doesn't like that she is kind of the face of the game and they're making money because of her.
I think Caitlyn has come out. I forget which platform or how she did it, but she did kind of generically condemn what's going on. Um, yeah, having Asia say something would be nice. I don't know. In my opinion, I think it's even above the players at this point. Maybe Kathy also needs to say something. You have like these players, like well-known players for their particular clubs that have said things like Alyssa Thomas in Phoenix has come out and said things. Obviously, you've got Dejanay Carrington. Like these are well-known figures in the W, and yet still nothing has happened. I get the point of having Asia say something, being MVP and a champion, but I think it's even above them at this point.
Yep. And my boy Miko, who's part of the man cave, he says at least the women are tougher than the men. But yeah, like I said, it's just a continuation from your conversation, last week in regards to just WNBA continues to get this bad press, and hopefully something can happen that could change, because it's not that you still want to have that going around, as a cloud, what I'm saying, over your
Mhm.
league. Is that it's not about the what's going on the court, but it's more political. It's more about everything off the court, and that's just not going to be a good look. But with that being said, that is our show, ladies. Thank y'all very much for being on the show. Uh, Ash Bash, if you are available next week for another edition of the main show, you're more than welcome. Joe Bo, thank you for your time. Bunny, I know you was on earlier. You got things going on. We understand, but thank you for your time as well. And of course, to our special, well, not special guest, but our friend of the show, returning for I think the fifth time now, Kyle Reis. Thank you very much. Everyone else, make sure that y'all go ahead and go to smoothproductions.com, smooth with three O's. Check out the website, see all the services that I provide. If you need some assistance with DJing, custom apparel, audio visual, sound engineering, podcast, talk show, photography, videography, drone services, scan the QR code right now. Or once again, go to Smooth Production, Smooth with three O's, and connect with yours truly. Also, the Platform Sports Talk Show is all across them socials: Facebook, the X, Instagram, YouTube. Just put in the Platform Sports Talk Show. And of course, on YouTube, subscribe and click on that bell so anytime we go live, you will be notified. You can't watch us, you can listen in on Hot 365 Radio, where it's always go to hot365radio.com or via the app. You can catch the replay of our most recent show each and every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. They also have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/hot365 radio. You have Ladies Night every first Wednesday of the month. The best panel of ladies who love sports. The last Wednesday of the month, you have the Man Cave, where anything can go down. Every Thursday, whether it's a live or it's a best of, you have smooth conversations on beatdistrictradio.com or via the app. You also have my YouTube page, Smooth Conversations. Subscribe to that channel as well. Check out the amazing conversations I've had with some amazing people locally and globally. Smooth Conversations, smooth with three O's. And last and definitely not least, if you want to grow your brand, amplify your business, become a sponsor of the Platform Sports Talk Show Network. Let's collaborate and take your business to the next level. Our platform, your exposure, mutual growth. Help us help you. If you're interested in a sponsorship opportunity, shoot us an email, platformsportstalkshow@gmail.com. There's a lot of great businesses out here doing amazing things, or maybe just need a little extra that little push. Let's connect, let's collab, and let's do some amazing things. We have some great packages, and we'll make sure that your business gets highlighted the way that it deserves to be. So once again, that is the Platform Sports Talk Show. Hope y'all, hope y'all had a wonderful experience enjoying this show and watching. Hope y'all tune in next week and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's your boy Smooth. Y'all have a great rest of y'all.
What you have just experienced was brought to you by Smooth Productions. Until next time, stay tuned and stay smooth.